Welcome to the Intercut podcast, the weekly show going over the TV, movies, and entertainment that people can't cut away from. I'm your co-host, Zachary Shevich, and joining me, he did not yield, so the challenge continues. It's Arturo Zurita.
If only I was as buff as, how did he get buffer than he was in Creed?
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of amazed me. I was reading about it, and he said he put on 15 more pounds of muscle after Creed.
He's going to take it on the Russian in Creed 2.
Is he going to have to lose muscle to play Creed again? That's kind of insane.
How are they going to get a Russian in Creed? Because I think they're following up whatever the Rocky movie was. It's supposed to be the son of Drago, who's supposed to come in,
Well,
right?
Did you see Sylvester Stallone release that promo image, like the poster for Creed 2, I think?
I have not.
Yeah, it's got a glimpse of the guy that they hired for playing Drago's son. Looks like the original Drago is going to be in it, maybe as Drago's son's Rocky figure.
I mean, but when Creed is that huge, this other guy's got to be like the Rock size. So, I don't know.
Yeah, they got to find somebody big.
They got to do something.
Anyway, it is Black Panther week here on the Intercut podcast. We're going to get into it during our topic of the week, as well as some spoilers, but that's not until later. First, we're going to hit you with the yay or nay, some Netflix stuff, some box office stuff. But first, let's start with what we've been watching. Art, anything new?
Pretty much just Netflix stuff. I saw When We First Met. I think it's how I keep messing it up. I keep saying like different things. I know we had brought it up in a previous show. It's the one where it's the Netflix show where movie.
Oh,
where
the Adam Devine Groundhog Day thing.
Groundhog Day, King Bach's in it. I'll say this: I did not think King Bach's not bad as an actor. Like for these type of movies, he's actually not bad. And now, you know, Vine to YouTube to movie star. That's you know, I'm not gonna bash on someone's success. I'm not a big fan of his Vines, but he was fine in this movie with Adam Devine. And I will give it this: while the first the first half of the movie, it's definitely repetitive. It's cheesy. A lot of jokes miss. I have been saying that Devine's like the new Jack Black, or wants to be the new Jack Black. I see a lot of similar comparison. Mannerisms and such. I am a sucker for time travel romance movies, like about time and stuff like that. And I really dug the ending to the movie. It's not a fantastic movie. It's like I give it 2.5 stars, but I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think anybody who's gonna see the trailer is gonna think that this is some like new classic romantic comedy.
12 Monkeys. No.
But like I almost put it on the other day over the weekend. Just like it seems like a good lazy Netflix watch. So
I think
I'll probably
catch
up with it.
I think you'd like the ending.
If you're recommending it, I'll definitely try and catch up with it. I also have a quick Netflix recommendation: the Joel McHale show with Joel McHale just started.
First
back
one, right?
up. Yeah. There's only one episode so far, but we've already got cameos from guys like Kevin Hart, Jason Priestley, and others. Alison Brie. There's a whole little community thing going on there, and it's funny. I mean, like if you watched The Soup, it has a particular brand of snarky looking at reality TV and clips like that humor, just sort of pointing out how ridiculous some of the TV that we in other countries make is. And it's just kind of funny, kind of easy watch. It's very like calming, dumb little thing that I enjoy having in my life when it was The Soup, and it's basically the same thing now on Netflix. It's also a kind of break from the norm for Netflix, and that they're going to be releasing one every week on Sunday, kind of like they were doing with the Chelsea Handler show, but now they've got that, and they've got the Letterman show going on. So Netflix is putting out some things periodically now. It's a interesting shift.
Completely, yeah.
We might talk about that more a little bit later.
Oh, okay. Spoiler alert. That's cool. I'll check it out. I know the first episode was up there. I just haven't seen it yet. So
yeah. Did you ever watch The Soup? Were you a fan of that?
I wasn't the biggest fan of it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing to me. I was like, okay, he's very snarky. Maybe now I might like it since my snark levels have gained throughout the years.
I remember it is a little bit mean. And if you're a fan of reality TV, I can see maybe finding it distasteful. But
so seeing him like go into actor mode, I was like, oh cool. I was still seeing him. Then after years, I was like, you know what? He can hold his own outside of the snarkiness. I'm glad he's finally made it back into Netflix and he's doing this again.
Yeah, Netflix has to spread that money around somehow. All right, let's get straight into the yay or nays. Let's not waste our time. There's a lot to talk about, primarily Black Panther. We'll get into the movie a bit more during our topic of the week, but we want to talk about the box office because it had big returns for its first few days.
Yes,
Black
sir.
Panther roared at the box office with the 5th highest opening weekend gross of all time with $201 million. That beat out Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie, and it came in just under the first Avengers movie as Marvel's second highest grossing opening weekend ever. The total gross of Black Panther now, I believe, is up to $235 million, which already makes it the highest grossing film, the highest grossing film of all time from a black director, beating out Straight Outta Compton, which made about 210 during its entire theatrical run.
Yeah.
So
4 days.
Your man Coogler is in the stratosphere right now.
I'm so
I feel like that guy
happy
can
for
do
him.
pretty much anything he wants to. Art. Obviously, we're excited for Black Panther and for the people involved with it, but yay or nay, you expected Black Panther to do so well at the box office.
I did not think it was going to make record-breaking numbers like it did.
Yeah.
I was expecting 160, 170. I heard 190.
A lot of people were projecting like between 160 and 190 maybe.
I was like, yeah, no doubt it's going to make that. This goes above and beyond. These aren't like, yo, look, I can make it numbers. These are like, King of Wakanda numbers. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. I mean,
and you're with me, right? When we've talked about, like, we don't really root for so much a studio or a movie. I root for, like, people who I want to see grow. I've been following Ryan Coogler since Fruitvale Station. I remember hearing, like, yo, this little movie won at Sundance. I got to go to Sundance. Now I'm an avid Sundancer, looking for the next talent just like this guy. I love seeing how much he's grown, and for him to make these numbers is insane. I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. It's exciting to see a talent like Coogler, a still emerging filmmaker, blow up. I retweeted this on the Intercut timeline, but Sean Fennessy of The Ringer tweeted out, is there any filmmakers who can really compare to Ryan Coogler's trajectory with 3 films going from Fruitvale to Creed to Black Panther, just getting more and more difficult? And
if I may, and I don't want to say, because you had brought this up a little bit earlier, what's next for Ryan Coogler? I hope it ain't The Book of Henry Part 2.
Yes, please, hopefully not. I mean, I have a little bit more faith in him than I did in, what's his face? Trevorrow?
Colin Trevorrow.
But I think that, this is definitely a good sign. It's going to mean that we're going to see a lot more of Black Panther, I'm sure. And there's people even talking about the potential for spin-offs or extensions of it. I'm excited for... This should give Coogler an opportunity to do new things. There's been rumors about him trying to do a film with Michael B. Jordan as the richest man in history of the world, an African king.
Have you heard their thing? They're so adorable, dude. Michael B. Jordan's like, Coogler messaged me about playing a villain, and I said before I even knew what it was for, and they're like, oh, you guys work really well together, and he's like, we're gonna make all our movies together. And I was like,
I'm so excited for them to be Scorsese and De Niro, or Scorsese and DiCaprio.
Right? That's dope. No, I'm excited for it. Back to the little Trevor point, because I know, like, you and I follow it completely. When we talk about those indie directors, right? Colin Trevorrow did Safety Not Guaranteed, Sundance movie. Then hopped on to a big level, which was Jurassic World. Record-breaking movie, right? Who else did we have who just did... I guess you can kind of see Rian Johnson's thing.
I mean, Rian Johnson has a similar trajectory from indie to mega franchise, and in not a huge span of time.
There was somebody else, and now I'm blanking on.
I mean, you can throw Josh Trank in there until he got fired.
Rest in peace, Josh. I still think of you. Even Michael B. Jordan's like, nah, don't mention Josh Trank.
Keep my name out your mouth.
No, it's right. It's right at the tip.
What do you do?
A movie? Oh, that's what it is. Pete's Dragon, dude. That was
right, David Lowery.
David Lowery, when he went from, and he would have something similar when he was going from Ain't Them Body Saints, and then he got Peach Dragon, right? And then he went back down. Just like I would say the same thing with Avengers and Joss Whedon when he went back down and he did that little live adaptation.
The Shakespeare thing.
The Shakespeare thing. Lowery went back a little bit lower and he did his very personal tale, A Ghost Story. Trevorrow.
Yeah, that kind of success really frees these filmmakers up to do whatever they want.
Whatever they want, pretty much for free. Because they've worked with people and they got all these favors. They know more people. Trevorrow obviously did Book of Henry. I'm curious to see what the next step is. What is the next? This is the peak. It's the peak. It's the peak for Boseman.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down.
And he's a guy who's kind of been looking for that big starring role.
I'm glad he got it.
Yeah, because he's a really talented actor, and I kind of always felt like he was never in the right project. You
think so?
Well, I mean, I think he gives a great performance in Get On Up, and the movie is not as good as his performance.
Agreed.
I think that's the same case for his work in like Marshall or in 42. You know, it's like,
agreed. Actually, yeah.
It's all like showcases for him, but not so much movies that deserve that kind of showcase. And I think in Black Panther, you get a nice mix of showcasing his talent and giving him a big platform for it.
1,000% agree. It's going to be very interesting to see where they carry on with their careers outside of Black Panther. But I'm glad that they have something that has left their mark at the box office. So that's dope.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm also really glad for Lupita Nyong'o to finally be in a big movie. You know, she was so great in 12 Years a Slave, and then there were a few years there where it was like, are we going to give her a part? Is she going to just be CGI Star Wars characters?
I'm glad for her too, because she's too good to be in this movie.
Yes. Moving on. Ryan Murphy, executive producer of nearly every hit show on Fox and FX, including Glee, 911, American Crime Story, and American Horror Story, is jumping ship for Netflix. In a deal valued at $300 million, Ryan Murphy will spend the next 5 years developing TV shows, films, and documentaries for the streaming network. This comes just months after Netflix lured Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder showrunner Shonda Rhimes away from ABC with her own 4-year, $100 million deal. So Art, yeah or nay? These deals are a bigger loss for the networks than they are a win for Netflix.
Definitely, 1,000%. You just mentioned some of the what were the last three that you mentioned?
So Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder, which
are the most bingeable shows.
It's the entire Thursday night lineup for ABC right now. I could be wrong.
Yeah, the Thursday night lineup that gets watched Monday through Sunday by everybody else who binges them on Netflix. And now you got that person to come in and produce even more shows? That's genius. See, this is where, and they never release their stuff, but this is where Netflix looks at what's making them the most, and they're like, how do we buy them? Buy the people.
Wait, so are you on the side that this is a bigger loss for the networks or a bigger gain for Netflix then?
Well, I mean, I think it's both. I think it's a big loss for the networks.
Certainly
because
both.
Who are they going to find to recreate that stuff, right? You mentioned the other guy who American Horror Story is one of the things that always say, hey, have you seen it? Nobody watches it on FX who I know that watch it. They watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, they're already kind of big hits for Netflix, but now the money is not going to these networks, which is why I feel like this is a huge loss.
It is a huge loss for networks.
Especially if you're ABC or Fox, which, you know, we've seen there's fewer and fewer network shows that break through. The last few years, it's kind of been like, This Is Us is the one kind of big breakout genre.
A little bit. Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, maybe some comedies, but yeah, not as much. And these were two people who consistently made shows that got attention.
That people watch weekly. Now they're not there. Yeah, dude. No, and I think it's a positive for Netflix because Netflix has been putting out shows, and we've talked about this. Some shows are like, yo, that's good. Trash. To the net, yo, that's good. Trash. You know what I mean? And I think getting consistent producers is the next big step for Netflix into having more hits than misses. Right. So I think that's huge for Netflix too. I think we're going to start seeing a new algorithm going on with Netflix and stuff like that. So
could be a really big deal.
I'm hyped for it.
Netflix is shifting from their model of releasing an entire season's worth of TV at a time with the upcoming 4th season of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Netflix is opting to split season 4 in half, releasing the first 6 episodes on May 30th, and then they'll be releasing the rest of season 4 sometime after in 2018. Art, yay or nay, you think Netflix is switching up its model of releasing things between this, the Joel McHale show, and others?
That's good. Now, I am a big fan because I come from the Lost era. Even Game of Thrones, which is Game of Thrones Westworld, some of the few that we still have now. You mentioned This Is Us, which I think is also, obviously they played with the Super Bowl love. We're finally going to answer your question. I love the weekliness of it. The having to wait a week, so you have to discuss it and you find a community to talk about it. Right? You get together with your family and you watch it. That moment that it's premiering live. I like that. I think this is interesting because I can't. The episodic thing I'm still a little iffy on. I think it's cool, but Netflix needs to come up with something new that can combine that week factor of it, but then also the binge factor, which is why people have Netflix. A half season is perfect.
This is what I've been advocating for. I mean, this is what I thought they should have been doing with the last few episodes of Game of Thrones. Like, give us them as you make them or something.
I think that's pretty dope because then you get to binge like 6 episodes, have something to talk about, right? So you're also getting that.
I feel like that's one of the biggest obstacles with like my friends in Netflix is like, oh, have you seen Mindhunter? Yeah, I'm on episode 3. Oh, well, I already finished it. We can't talk about it.
A little bit, yeah.
And being able to split it up and give people more time to maybe catch up with the smaller doses, I think is better for the viewer.
That's the best way to,
But not to mention, I think this is maybe a strategy that they want to implement to lure away other content makers who feel like they need their stuff to not just sort of be dumped on Netflix. I mean, I feel like if you're somebody who's working on a show like a Breaking Bad or the Game of Thrones or whatever that has these cliffhangers or Lost, you know, you're losing part of the enjoyment in breaking it, in just dumping all 13 episodes. There might be, like, what if we get a 13 episodes released over 13 nights kind of special event, something like that. They open themselves up to a lot of creative ways of releasing content.
I think that is part of that. People don't get that. That is part of the creativity, is the waiting. It's the release model of it. And I think this way, you know, when you finish a Netflix show, what do you go? Oh, well, that's it. I don't know if we're going to get another one or not. This gives you something to look forward to. Altered Carbon finished. People are like, well, we don't know. And Ozark, we don't know. And you don't know, but this gives you like oh yeah, for sure, there's going to be another one.
I think this is also an interesting move. We mentioned how, or I brought up during our Cloverfield Paradox talk, how by dropping it right after the Super Bowl, they're kind of doing that thing that TV has done for years where, you know, you put a big thing that you want people to watch right after another event that a lot of people are watching. And I wonder if some of this model is Netflix continuing to try and replace TV. Rather than being like, yeah, you can go to Netflix when you want to catch up on something. You know, Joel McHale every Sunday, that can be appointment viewing. If there's a new Letterman show on the top of every month, that can be appointment viewing. And it comes to the point where instead of releasing, you know, Kimmy Schmidt on a random week in May, they're releasing new shows every other day or, you know, throughout the year.
I think it's cool. I don't want them to get rid of the binge model because that's still a cool way to be like, okay, boom.
And there's probably some shows that benefited from it more. Like, I think American Vandal, I loved binging that one.
Exactly, but that was made with that model. I think it's just all going to depend on the model. I don't know that much about Kimmy Schmidt because it's more of a comedy, so I don't see why to split it. But I think something like Ozark would have been cool to split. I think something like, trying to think of any other show that's out there that
they probably could have done it to Stranger Things even. I'm glad they didn't, but
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, 4 episodes and 4 episodes.
But them doing it to Kimmy Schmidt season 3 or whichever one it is shows you that, hey, it doesn't matter if the first 2 were like that. They're willing to change up anything. So that's I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Doing press for her upcoming film Annihilation, Tessa Thompson spoke about her hopes to see a female hero team-up film from Marvel in the near future. With Thompson's role as Valkyrie, the women of Black Panther, and Brie Larson's upcoming film Captain Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is being injected with a bunch of women. But Art, yay or nay, would you be interested in the Femvengers?
Who would they be?
I don't necessarily know. I mean, I think the idea is that with Black Widow, with Captain Marvel, with, you know, maybe either what's her name? Dania plays her in Black Panther.
Oh, okay, yeah, the Dora Milaje.
Yeah, and Valkyrie, and I don't know, maybe we get another one down the line.
Why would they be by themselves?
I don't know.
Do you get what I mean?
That's the thing. Is like, yeah, there's got to be some motivation.
Because I'd say the same thing if it's just guys and there's no girls. I'm like, why?
That being said, like,
you know what I mean?
Marvel finds ways to, you know, have characters interact when they need to. But,
oh,
you know,
I'm for it. I'm for it if the characters are able to, because we still have yet to see, what I was supposed to say, Captain. Is it Captain Fantastic? Captain Fantastic's the movie.
Marvel?
Captain Marvel. Captain Fantastic. We have not seen the Woods people coming in. How they're gonna work together. I think Tessa Thompson showed with her character. That's a good like back and forth. I would love to see Donnie's character because she would definitely be the what's it called when you got the funny person and then you got the
the straight man.
The straight man. She would play the straight man perfectly. Mm-hmm. Black Widow clearly the I mean they're all action here, but Black Widow's like the spy in it. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be interesting to see it. I'm just curious how they would implement it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I would hope that they wouldn't just do it for the sake of doing it. They'd find a good reason to team up these particular people, or I think now we're getting to the point where there's enough of them. Oh, I guess I didn't even mention Elizabeth Olsen's character too, who you could throw in there.
Oh, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
But like, there's enough of them that maybe there's like maybe 5 of them team up at some point off to this. I don't know. I think it could be interesting. There seems to be some desire from it, at least within the community. I was looking at Tessa's comments, and she was basically saying, like, there's not necessarily a movie in development, but Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo were big proponents of the Thor Ragnarok switch, and that Marvel is good about listening to their actors. So it'd be interesting to see if they kind of try to jerry-rig some kind of mostly female team-up movie.
Chris Hemsworth and who did you just say?
Ruffalo?
Actually went to Marvel and they were listened to. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's shows that the company is doing a really good job of utilizing the talent they have around. It's not they're not trying to put squares into round holes.
Yeah, I mean, I think they started off a bit like that, but I think they're best at, what a company is best at, is learning from their mistakes and switching them. Kind of like Black Panther in the newest movie, you know? I'll say this, while I don't know about a team-up, what would be really cool is an episodic series, and they've done this. Comics are known for one-shots. Would that not be cool? Like a 10-episode thing on Netflix or whatever the Disney thing is going to be, and one where we just follow the Dora Milaje, one where we just follow for the characters that you probably aren't going to give feature films to. Yeah, that would be a pretty dope thing to do. I'm copywriting it right now.
So yeah, talk to Art if you want to develop that Marvel. We're going to move on to rough cuts, just some quick hit news topics before we get to our topic of the week. First, the gang is back together for Den of Thieves 2. We talked about Den of Thieves on episode 15. We both found it kind of ridiculous, but I think Art had a little bit of fun with it. I did. I hope you're excited for another go-around, though. Fun. STX Entertainment is greenlighting Den of Thieves 2 and bringing back director Christian Goodcast, along with stars Gerard Butler, 50 Cent, and negotiating with O'Shea Jackson Jr. Den of Thieves heads will note that, no spoilers here, but not every actor who they've apparently talked about bringing back survived Den of Thieves 1. I don't know how they're planning to deal with that, but Art, yay or nay, you're down for Den of Thieves 2.
Well, you know, considering they're bringing back the same director, I just hope they get a good cast. I like how they're doing it. Hey, so-and-so ain't that person that... Shh! It's called strategy. Maybe they're alive. Remember BVS? Right afterwards, they said, yeah, Superman's come back. He just died. Shh.
Maybe these are superheroes, and we didn't realize that in the first installment. everything's part of the superhero
This does not need
universe.
a part 2. This does not need a part 2. What are you talking about? Does not need a part 2. We talked about this, I think, with another property earlier. What makes Den of Thieves is its ridiculous ending. You cannot redo the ridiculous ending. Now that you know, you can't. O'Shea's in talks. What are you talking?
Yeah, first of all, no reason to do this if you don't get O'Shea Jackson Jr. back. First of all, and second of all, like, was this really that big of a hit that there's gonna be demand for Den of Thieves 2? I know it made like 70 million at the box office, but like,
how do we know they're not lying?
I don't know, man. I guess all the Gerard Butler fans are gonna be stoked, though. Melissa McCarthy and Tiffany Haddish are going to get together in the kitchen. They're setting to team up on a film, but it might not be what you think. The two funny women are going to co-star in The Kitchen, based on a comic book of the same name about Irish mob wives who are forced to take over the business after the FBI rounds up their husbands. Straight Outta Compton co-writer Andrea Berloff is set to make her directorial debut on the project. Art, yay or nay, you're curious about a crime drama with Melissa McCarthy and Tiffany Haddish.
Listen, now I can't remember if I've read this. I like Tiffany Haddish. No, I have not read The Kitchen. There was something similar to it that I thought I had read. It is a Vertigo series, so the property has me intrigued. I don't know if I want to see Melissa McCarthy again doing an action thriller, because I personally wasn't the biggest fan, but I do want to see Tiffany Haddish do an action thriller.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how much of an action movie this is. Like, I don't know if I want to see her at the star of a straight action movie. Spy is great because it's kind of plays into her comedy too.
Yeah.
I do think it'd be kind of cool to see her as like an intense mob wife. You know, not necessarily doing a lot of the action, but just being kind of a boss. You know,
if she can do it to. The boss, no. If she
not the boss, a boss.
If she can do it where she's not doing, and I know she's made a thing out of this, you know, just like Kevin Hart does it as well, the physicality, you know, making fun of herself that way. I think if she can strip that away and be like, okay, you know how I've done these jokes 20 million times, pause that and do what you're saying, where she actually can be like an intimidating character and it be funny off of, you know, not making fun of herself, then I'm down for it. I think it would be cool.
And I'm also firmly of the belief that comic actors make for great drama actors.
They can, yeah. So it just depends on the director and who wanted to work with Tiffany Haddish.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson directing this franchise.
I still need that movie in my life. Metallica's James Hetfield is joining Zac Efron's Ted Bundy movie. Hetfield will play Officer Bob Hayward, the first cop to arrest the serial killer. This is set to be the Metallica frontman's acting debut. So, Art, yay or nay, you're intrigued by the Enter Sandman singer having an acting career?
Sure. I mean, I think he's got the look for it. I've seen him in like bits when they do promos, and he's actually not bad. Yeah. He's pretty good in the promos. Plus, what's his name? The guy who, Manson, who just had his freak out. He's been in movies. Have you seen him? He's actually an actor. Yeah. He's been in a couple things, and I think he does a pretty decent job. So
yeah, I find a lot of musicians seem to make pretty decent transitions into acting, and he's got a gruff, interesting face that I think, you know, when he's saying he's going to play a cop, like, definitely, that sounds good. Yeah, I don't have anything against it.
Down for it. Let's see it.
Rachel Weisz doesn't want a female Bond because women, quote, should get their own stories. She's currently married to James Bond himself, Mr. Daniel Craig, but she says that there should be other movies out there than a female Bond. Women are really fascinating and interesting and should get their own stories. Art, yay or nay, you want to see a female Bond?
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because you know my answer to this already.
Yeah.
If you have not read this article, go read it. She makes great points. It's not just saying women shouldn't be Bond. She is saying women are better than just being Bond. They can be their own thing. You can create an entire franchise that's going to get its 20-plus half-mediocre movies where they keep recasting it. That's what she was saying, and I 1,000% agree with that. We don't need no seconds. And considering he's a man whore, sloppy seconds. I agree 1,000% with what she was saying. 1,000%.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot about the James Bond character that is kind of male, and I don't think you necessarily just have to gender flip him for the sake of giving women that kind of representation. Like, one thing that I've always been a fan of is the idea that each 007 is a different agent. playing James Bond.
A little bit. Yeah.
But so like, why not have a 006 movie with a female agent, and you can give it a similar vibe, but have it be its own thing. I think that would maybe work better. And also, you see in the more recent movies, with some of the female leads being much more badass, Moneypenny being pretty badass in the last one. I think that's a better direction to take than gender flipping the whole thing.
Hey, we talked about this before. 1000% agree with that.
Yeah. So we move on to our topic of the week, where we're gonna get into Black Panther with some spoilers, but not yet. So stick with us. We'll We'll warn you when that happens, and you can check the description down below for the time code to skip forward. The movie of the moment, Black Panther, the 18th MCU movie, and the last one before May's Avengers: Infinity War. Black Panther stars Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, the king
of Wakanda. To you, sir.
Yes, the king of the fictional African nation of Wakanda and inheritor of the Black Panther powers. The film is the first in the current Marvel Cinematic Universe to star a black superhero, and although snarky people on the internet will point out that movies like Blade and Hancock beat Black Panther to the punch of black superhero, this movie is undoubtedly the blackest and most African superhero film that we've seen. Director Ryan Coogler's movie creates a whole African mythology, featuring actors like Lupita Nyong'o, Dania Gurira, Letitia Wright, and Daniel Kaluuya as African royalty, and has a villain in Michael B. Jordan's Eric Killmonger that not only has a distinctly African-American perspective to his character, but happens to be one of the best comic book movie villains ever.
My opinion. Agree.
Black Panther is a Marvel movie, and it must fit within Kevin Feige's master plan, both narratively and tonally. So, Art, no spoilers for now, but how close to perfect is Black Panther?
That's disrespectful right there. I'm not taking your cat puns.
I had to get one in.
Oh,
we'll avoid them.
I was hoping maybe someone wouldn't have heard that, but I heard it, and I cannot. No, I did not expect it to be perfect. I think, and we've talked about this in the past, where when it comes to a minority director or actor, whatever else, that when they come up with a movie, it needs to be perfect, right? Mm-hmm. They can't make a mediocre movie.
You get a lot of expectations and weight placed on those shoulders.
I'll start it off with this. You know, people have been like hyping this movie up a lot, and then other people are like, you guys are hyping it up, so I got to underhype it, and there's this whole tension to it. If you think the movie's mediocre, then that's fine. Because black people deserve their own mediocre movie, and Mexicans, and everybody deserves their own mediocre movie.
Yeah.
I agree. Some people have taken to the point. You mentioned Blade. You mentioned Hancock. Hancock was like one of the. I love Hancock.
Yeah, I think Hancock's really
I think some people have disrespected previous movies because of this, but they still make a point. This is the point that they're trying to make. If you like a team, right, and you've been waiting for this team to do something, just because another team has done it. That doesn't matter because you know when the Eagles, fans,
both on scale and just on like production budget,
right?
There is no comparison between Black Panther and those movies
exactly. And on top of that, we have this thing called Marvel fanboys and Marvel fanism. So for the people who love Marvel, that's cool that other movies have done it. But this is who they look up to, and they finally gave it to them. And you know, whether it's good or bad, if people like it, I'll let them like it. For me,
I think there's also something to be said for just the fact that, you know, you see some of these big scenes, these group shots with extras walking around in the back, and I don't know if I've ever seen a movie on that scale with just the plethora of black faces in these different types of roles. I mean, that's a really big argument in this movie's favor. Doesn't necessarily mean the movie's good, but it's a really, it makes the movie a really great piece of representation and something that is strikingly unique. Like, it's worth noting how unique that is in the scheme of these big budget movies.
Now, I'm sure you and I agree. You know, everyone's making a big deal. Some people are like, "Why are you making it such a big deal?" I'm waiting for the point where you're right. When it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? When another one just comes out and he's like, "Oh yeah," and just like this one, you can judge it. If you don't like it, that's completely fine. I know, and I don't want to speak for everyone or strawman anyone, but I know that there are some people who like feel bad for not liking it. No, it's still a movie. And for the people who do like it, love it. Can't be your favorite movie of the year yet because we still got a long way to go. But in terms of a movie, I think it's a solid movie. I still think that just like every other Marvel movie, not the biggest fan of the CGI.
Yeah.
when they keep going.
I've seen a lot of people complaining about the CGI, and there are points where it's like very obviously fake.
Oh, I saw it in Dolby, so yeah, I can tell.
But I'm also, for me, I'm also like, I don't believe that there's actually two people falling through the air in Black Panther suits fighting each other. So
I do. Should have been practical.
I only go so far with having bad CGI take me out of a movie, I guess.
But I mean, for me, it's still the story. I, as a huge fan of Ryan Coogler, as we mentioned earlier in the show, what he does with Fruitvale Station and what he does specifically with Creed and those little set pieces that you follow with the characters, I think that in this movie, when you get those action set pieces, it takes away from what Ryan Coogler does best, in my opinion. That's why I bring up the CGI, and I also bring up that thing with Marvel characters where it's a lot of things that they need to cover for world building, which I know some people like, and that's dope. I like when we get into the themes of the movie, and that's why, to me, the first half of the movie is like, all right, that's cool, we're getting into this world, and I know people love it. For me, it's when Eric Killmonger comes in. I'm not a fan of hibernating my man for 40 minutes like I brought up. I wish he was in there longer. I wish Claw was in there longer.
Yeah, I mean,
dude, he is dope.
So I think this. I mean, we can get a little bit more into. Should we launch into spoilers, or should we talk a little bit more broadly first?
We can do a little bit more broadly. That wasn't so much a spoiler. It's
a
2 hour something movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was nice that the movie was able to have two really interesting villains. I think there's a lot of superhero movies where it fails to balance their storylines, and it found a way to give you a lot of both. Although I could have even used more of both.
What was the movie that had like 20 bad guys in it? There was a superhero movie. It had like 50
What, Amazing Spider-Man 2 or something?
Amazing Spider-Man 2 had like 5 bad guys. And the producer,
Rhino shows up for 5 minutes.
And the producers, they were the main bad guys. But, exactly. No, yeah, for this movie, I thought that balanced out perfectly, especially the dynamic between the two bad guys and how they were like kind of, you know, maybe in a sense working together, using each other, but how that leads up to Black Panther and his interaction with the bad guy. I think what makes it good, and I'm curious to know your thoughts because a lot has been said about the acting of Michael B. Jordan, because I love the character. How do you feel about him having that straight up, I've been calling it the Vic Mensa accent, just coming in, angry as can be, even though he was in the military and went through all this training and whatnot? I mean, he still is that Oakland kid, but what did you think of him like taking over as king of Wakanda and still being like, man, F this, F... Well, I didn't say F, but swearing out T'Challa when he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that it's part of the attitude. It's part of... he's very much talking about representing a culture, and I think it's very much of a culture. Like you talk about hip hop, like it's got that kind of
that's what I figured
aggressive
it was,
posturing thing to it.
Exactly.
And you know, you have to remember that. I think one thing that is really, really interesting about the Eric Killmonger character is he's very much coming from the African American perspective. Yeah. He's coming from the perspective of going through what people have gone through here in America and bringing that with him to Wakanda to carry the burden that a lot of black people in this country have faced. So I think that type of posturing, that type of accent, I think it makes sense for given his background and given what we see of his upbringing in the movie. I wanted to ask you, how unique did you feel Black Panther was in relation to the rest of the MCU? We mentioned how there's like a plethora of black faces, which is its own unique thing, and there is some of that same cheesy Marvel sense of humor. What are those in there? But did you find this movie different than most of the Marvel films, or kind of in line with them?
Thor is like the only other one where we've gotten a world, right? And I mean, no spoilers for Asgard and how that doesn't matter anymore, but Asgard wasn't that dope of a place, but you also didn't, for me, I didn't really, it was just like, oh, it's mystical. Okay, yeah, but like, what's the feeling of Asgard? Right. What are the people like in Asgard? What do they do? I think you get that more in Wakanda. You understand it a bit more. I thought it was interesting the way
being transported to another place.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Especially when you get to the after credits scenes, where I think we can jump a little bit more into a little bit slight spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, we can throw up. If you don't want to hear any spoilers,
y'all have
kind of talked about our broad feelings. So hit that description down below for the time code.
5th biggest opening. Y'all have seen this. I know everyone's seen this movie if you're watching this video. So we're just, we're talking about it. And definitely comment down below. the idea of opening up Wakanda.
Yes.
To more people. Maybe, and I think you still get it with it being a 2-hour movie, but the length of time that Wakanda has been its own thing, and now it's opening. I think you still feel it in the movie, but it would have been interesting if we would have seen it more or heard about it more. I think we got introduced to it in Civil War, but the impact of how big of a decision that is to reveal to everyone, oh yeah, by the way, there's a whole other place you guys have never heard about.
Yeah, and we're gonna go back to Wakanda in Infinity War, so it will be interesting to see
Wakanda blows up.
Invasion of these other elements is
That's
really
what I'm
going to
saying.
change it and maybe ruin Wakanda for a little while. But,
Right?
It'd be great. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'd be down to see more adventures there. I mean, I think one thing that's really cool about it is that it wasn't just, even with Asgard, it kind of was like all the godly people and then like the 1 or 2 traders, whereas you get a lot of different layers to this whole Wakanda thing.
5
you have
tribes,
tribes,
yeah.
You have Kaluuya's tribe and you have the mountain tribe, and it's really cool. I'd love to see some more of that stuff too.
Let me hit you with a question, because I had this brought up about people calling Wakanda a fictional place, which it is a fictional place, but
yeah, so is Westeros.
Exactly. No, I've heard different things brought up about how for such a technologically advanced society, they're very barbaric in the way that they choose king. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, people have been arguing that like for an advanced civilization, that it's weird that they have this ritual ceremony for choosing who's king. I think it's worth noting that basically every tribe passed up the right to challenge them. Like there seems to be some order there for the most part.
Yeah.
And even when there was a challenger, he yielded. They're not like bloodthirsty. They're kind of asserting themselves. And we're in the most advanced civilization in the world, and we're not getting rid of our guns. So I don't know. It's not exactly that big of a difference.
That's when I heard that, I'm like, but Afghanistan though.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we can't ban AR-15s, then I don't know why people are complaining about ritual death ceremonies.
Yeah, of course. That was one of the aspects of the movie, that the country makes wrong decisions, right? Like keeping its borders and not building bridges, like not helping other people, like doing something like that where they can easily be unstable and fall apart.
You can be an advanced civilization and not always be right.
Yeah, so some people had also questioned, like, what at the end when the guy pretty much, he opens up, Wakanda is a place, we want to help out other people, and as you know, everyone thinks Wakanda's a poor place, so that one dude in the after credits is like, what do you have to offer? Some people, they're like, what the heck do you... Look. Are you giving us back the money for the feed the children? Some people were like, what does Wakanda have to offer? Vibranium. I think some people... I thought... Maybe it's because I know the comics a bit more. But the power of Vibranium... how Vibranium, like, I don't know if you noticed, like, it's not just for technology, it's also the way it can handle elements. It's also how they digest it and it gives them powers, right? Yeah. Like, there's...
I mean... I also think just the ability to cure people of bullet wounds would be
useful
outside of Wakanda.
Exactly. Like, this is an element that is huge. Like, it does so many things. So that would be like the one thing that obviously makes them useful. How that's going to affect Infinity War, my joke was that after thousands of years, they finally reveal that Wakanda's a place, then Thanos goes and crushes it. That would suck. Yeah. But I have heard people say, because as we get to the ideology of Killmonger brings up that there's a bunch of blacks in the world, right? And we're all suffering, and Wakanda could help out, and they don't. Mm-hmm. And some people have been like, yo, exactly. Why doesn't Africa help out? Not realizing that, again, Wakanda's a fictional place. There's actually not a place in Africa that has all this. There's blood diamonds.
All the secret wealth to share.
Yeah, there's blood diamonds, but you can't swallow a blood diamond and be healed. That being said, I thought it was interesting that Wakanda is only Wakanda because that's where the asteroid fell. I thought that was a little interesting. Like, that. Imagine if it fell somewhere else.
Right.
Can you imagine if it landed in Ireland? And how Ireland has their own, like, I don't even know what the Ireland equivalent a name would be. Then we get this, like, leprechaun of a superhero that's got to come out.
Green Panther?
The Green Panther.
I wanted to circle back to the villains that we talked about previously because I think it's interesting. We both liked both of the villains. I thought Claw, played by Andy Serkis, was really good, but then again, spoiler section, he gets shot.
Literally
by
cut out too early. Yeah.
About like an hour into the movie, I want to say, and from that point on, it is pretty much all on the Killmonger villain plot. And for me, I thought this was kind of interesting, comparing it to the way that a lot of other films try and do the two villains thing. You take like The Dark Knight, for example, which while The Dark Knight is really good, I don't think it handled the two villains thing good.
Calm yourself.
I think that what makes it work a little bit better is that the sort of smaller villain, the lesser villain, is who we're introduced to first, and then the meat of the movie is on the person we really care about. The way that, you know, the Joker was kind of the big bad in The Dark Knight, but we ended up spending a lot of time with Harvey Dent at the end. I think maybe flipping that, the way that Black Panther does, is kind of a solution to this two villain problem.
Maybe. I mean, I like the one in The Dark Knight because, spoilers for those who haven't seen a 2008 movie, he kind of creates Harvey Dent. Like Harvey Dent is his experiment, but I get what you're saying because in here...
there's the argument that Harvey wasn't given enough time in that movie, which is an argument I buy.
You live long enough, you become the villain. He got shot off screen. Claw got shot off screen. And maybe that means something. I don't know. I mean, the man got his arm chopped off. He still lived, didn't bleed out. So maybe he comes back. But I do think that act alone elevates Killmonger. Even when he shot his Bonnie. Oh, this man cold. This man's who am I thinking of? Kills his family.
Oh, Kaiser Soze.
This man Kaiser Soze right there. He's like, forget you, boom, boom, boom. It's like, whoa, this man don't care right now. He does it to himself. That ending, literally with Killmonger, when his own cousin's like, yo, dude, like, bro, let's go eat some vibranium. I'll help you out. We got you in the sequel, man. And he's like, nah. What is he say? And I even wrote it down when he's just like, throw me in the ocean with my ancestors who were willing to jump because they knew death was better than bondage.
Yeah.
And then he watched himself. Ooh.
Oof. And that's one of the things that I think makes Killmonger maybe the best villain that Marvel has produced. Because I think a great villain is someone whose cause you understand, who you can empathize with their frustrations or anger, and it's just their methods that you disagree with.
Exactly. You know? There was one point where he's just like, he's telling you like what the problem is, and he's like, well, I mean, I can't. I mean, it's true. I mean, we just saw this flashback.
His big idea is like, let's take all this technology and give it to the people who have nothing so they can do something with it.
Right, but then he also says,
and then use it to kill people. Wait. You should have stopped that sentence.
Wait a minute. He's like, because there's no way to change. He ain't right? I love. What did you think about him being so? Like, there has to be a version of the script where Killmonger straight up said, "And destroy all white people." Whoa.
Not sure that works in a Disney movie.
Colonizer, okay?
Yeah.
They whited it out. Colonizer. I mean, it's ballsy.
Control F.
It's just dubbed. He's saying white, but he goes colonizer. I think having the villain have that, I think it's a very ballsy plot. That's why I find it, or theme, motivation, whatever you want to call it. That's why I think it's so interesting when people go, why does this movie have to be political? Because the main villain's whole thing is saying how black people are, his dad says it, the This Is Us guy, because that's the whole idea. Wakanda is all about themselves. That's how they create a really good society, right? With no problems for the most part, until it's like challenging day. But they're oblivious to all the other problems, and it's not until they go out and they have spies out there that, you know, as you figure out, he's a spy for Wakanda, but he falls in love, has a kid. He figures out that there's like no way for the people there to help themselves out, and he brings them some good points, and you know that leaks down to his son, who his son's like, bro, you weren't raised in Oakland, you're here in Wakanda. Well, look at this place, look at these sunsets. So I think the fact that you sympathize with him, you know, the last villain that I sympathized this much with was Malekith the Destroyer in Thor 2.
I mean, for me, I thought back to like Syndrome. From The Incredibles.
Okay, yeah, that's a
good example.
Yeah, that's a good example right there.
I wanted to bring back that idea of it being political. I mean, I think I understand why people are like, keep politics out of my superhero movies, but I don't know how much it is political as much as it is factual, you know? Like, the things he's talking about aren't like, do you have an opinion on it? The things he's talking about are what has happened.
Oh, no. See, this is where you're confused, my friend, and I don't mean to be, because I'm an SJW Nazi Klan.
I've read your comments.
Democratic. Yeah, I'm all over the place, all right? So I'm allowed to say it. When people say, don't be political, what they mean is, oh, I disagree with you.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about that.
Oh,
I don't want
yeah,
to think
yeah,
about that.
But here, you watch this other video where I'm saying what you do want to hear, and then it's not political.
Exactly.
That's what they mean when they say
exactly.
They say don't.
All
get
the
political.
celebrities who talk about politics should shut up, except for the ones that I
agree with. Exactly. Yeah.
Did you see any of the twists coming?
Well, I knew Killmonger, so you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean,
not him shooting.
The fact that it was the uncle and the son. Did you know all that because of the mythology?
No. Yeah. So I guess seeing the kid, I did not think he would be the kid. I guess that kind of caught me off guard. I thought that was cool going back to it and sort of like, ooh.
Yeah.
I like seeing a scene. Yeah, seeing a scene twice and going like, ooh. And I loved the pseudo flashback scenes in the afterlife when they talk to their fathers. That was cool. I liked that a lot. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
For me, I saw the Forrest Whitaker being Forrest Whitaker Jr. twist coming because I recognized the actors.
Because the droop.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's sort of an like it's both good casting and like
is
a
it
slight
not
tip
his
of the
son?
hand.
Because I know they're both Whitaker. It is his son then.
It's his son.
That's what I said. Someone told me it wasn't. I'm like, nah, it's his son. He's the great debater. Yeah. No, I thought that was good casting, and I also thought the casting for T'Chaka, the dad, when he came out, I laughed because I said, Marvel at it again, just trying to. That's clearly Boseman. I go on IMDb.
That was good casting.
That is another dude who looks just like freaking Chadwick Boseman.
Looks like he could be his father.
That was insane.
Yeah.
I thought they legit just anti
old age make them.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow, you guys are pathetic
Benjamin
here.
Button.
And then I realized, oh shoot, that's another actor.
Did you have any favorite characters? Probably. I know we both really thought Killmonger was great, but aside from Killmonger, anybody else you loved?
I've said Killmonger. I thought was the best. I think that the best actors in the movie. Obviously, Lupita is the best in anything that she's in, but I really loved the Dora Milaje. I'm blanking on her name, but Michonne. Most of us know as Michonne.
Yeah, I have it here, but I'm really bad at pronouncing it. Denai Guerrera.
And Claw. Honestly, I really like seeing. What am I blinking on his name?
Andy Serkis.
Yeah, one of the two white dudes in actual real roles when he's not CGI. He's fantastic at CGI.
But he's a really good actor too.
Every time I see him, comfortable. He's so comfortable in his roles. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be completely honest. Besides Forrest and Lupita and Danae, everyone else with the accents, we're trying really, and this isn't like these. Watch their interviews. They tell you, dang, those accents. Like, we had to shoot other movies just to practice the accents. The Messenger for the King one that Chadwick's got online. Right. That movie, he has said it. That movie was just an audition for Black Panther. It was him testing out the accents. That dialect coach should have got him for his billing. Forrest Whitaker's really the only one who knows how to do the accents like perfectly well, in my opinion. But Claw, dude, he's just so comfortable. Like, he was having fun with it. So
you could tell that he was really leaning into the character.
That's why when he died,
for Andy Serkis.
When he died, I was like, brah, but he was so much fun on screen.
Yeah, I wasn't done with him.
I want to see a SoundCloud link.
I thought Letitia Wright was kind of delightful. I mean, she has some of the cheesiest lines in the movie, but I don't think that's her fault. You know,
it's not her fault.
She did a lot with them.
I'm rooting a lot for her because, as you know, she was just in. She was in the last episode of Black Mirror, but I had also just seen her in the Train movie with Liam Neeson, The Commuter.
Oh yeah.
So she's getting little roles here. This is obviously a really big role, and I think it's a role that a lot of people are going to attach themselves to. Obviously, as a Batman fan, Oracle. She's got that Oracle-like character, and they beat DC to it. right?
No, I mean, you mentioned Batman. I mean, she's basically like the Robin of this movie in a way.
Exactly.
And there's talks about how this character in the comics eventually grows into Black Panther. So maybe that's in her future. But regardless, I do think she's going to get a lot of big roles off of this, having such a prominent role in such a big movie. So I guess in summation, are there things that you didn't touch on? Things that you liked, didn't like?
I mean, in terms of the movie, just like I said, I think it's still a Marvel movie. It plays into some of the Marvel tropes. I'm curious how it plays into the bigger picture of it. I'm curious how they handle the sequel. I'm curious how Black Panther himself is in Infinity War. Because so far, for me, Civil War is the best rendition of Black Panther. And I know exactly why. It's because he has that anger to him. He's there to prove something. And in this one, he's trying to become king, but it wasn't the same as he was in Civil War.
As much as I like Boseman, I did think that they made T'Challa a little bland in this movie. He was kind of Captain America do-gooder without the, like, man out of time kind of fun cook to him.
Exactly.
And it gave a lot of room for all the characters around him to have some fun character development.
And he was so good.
I don't know if he necessarily had the most to do.
Exactly. That's why I say, like, my favorite characters were the supporting characters, the ones who were really driving the thing along. So that's why I'm curious to see where the sequel and where he goes in Infinity War. But people like making their Marvel list wherever you have it. If it's lower than mine, if it's higher than mine, that's cool. For me, I have to see it again. I have it at like 6 or 7. For me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely top 5, but...
Yeah, because you've only seen 5 Marvel movies.
I also have missed a couple, and I'm just, I'm not a Marvel guy. It's not... This is, as much as I do think that this was one of the better Marvel films, and there's a lot of things to extol about it. We've talked about so many things that we've liked about it, and neither of us have said the word war rhino out loud yet. So...
You really like those?
Yeah, man. How can you not like a battle rhino?
Look,
get out of here.
I'm only defending them because I grew up with Power Rangers and the Megazord. I understand the concept. But, I mean, it was okay. I like how the other guys are the Dothraki.
Yeah.
They just come in. That was another cool element. Since if we talk about the 5th tribe, I like that. I thought that was cool. Where he could have easily drank the thing and become the new Black Panther, and he didn't. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. No, I thought the way that they handled that whole section without Chadwick Boseman was pretty good. It gave a lot of the female characters really important roles in the film, and it brought that character back in a way that was unexpected.
He's gonna be in Infinity War too. I thought that was cool. I kind of spoiled it for myself. I looked him up. I was like, oh, that'll be interesting. It'll be cool to see him there.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see all of those characters return. I'm excited to see them give a little bit more to Chadwick Boseman in the future. Like you, I think that the way that this movie isn't great is in the ways that it sort of falls into the stereotypical Marvel beats.
Yeah, it's still a Marvel movie. That's cool.
There's not a whole lot of tension in that you don't really ever think that things are going to go badly for most of these characters. And I think there is a little bit of like choppiness to the pace. But that's kind of the case for most of these Marvel films.
It's a long movie.
But I think there's just a lot of enjoyable aspects to it and a lot of interesting things to think about. So, and we've talked about before how many of the Marvel villains are forgettable. This was not one of them. Michael B. Jordan's so cool in this movie. The whole design. I love the hair too.
His hair was dope.
He goes from Vic Mensa to Quavo or something. But
I brought up the Vic Mensa. I have not brought up the Quavo. His jacket was cool too. I really like his jacket, the first jacket that he has, and his gold Black Panther suit. I thought the purple was dope. Nah. I better not see any purple Black Panther suits for Halloween. Y'all better be going in the gold one, because the gold one was crazy.
Yeah, man.
That was a nice one.
So it's easy to see that Black Panther was a hotly anticipated movie, and I think ultimately you have to hand it to Ryan Coogler. That between this and Creed, he's delivered on sky-high expectations at the helm of iconic franchises. I can't wait to see what Coogler does next, especially if it's something original, because it's been a little while since he's given us something like that. But for now, we should move on to our final segment of the week, the new to see, starting with what's new in theaters. February 23rd, Annihilation. This is the latest from Ex Machina writer-director Alex Garland, Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Tessa Thompson, Oscar Isaac, all in this one. I cannot wait. This one I might see opening night.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
You have seen it?
Dude, it is... No, I've not seen it. I wish. The screening for it was on Wednesday. which is like I might as well just see it Thursday, right? Like I want to see this in a big screen. We've talked about the that sound.
Yeah,
bro, I got to see this, and it sucks that Black Panther came out because that's taking over all the IMAX and Dolby's.
Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of wanted to see this in a big screen, but no, dude, I am really excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's that press that we talked about earlier about how the studios were worried the movie was too smart. I mean that's
and what we brought up a couple weeks back, if y'all follow the Intercut, when they said that you got to change it, and our boy was like, nah. Right? And we said it's like, if a movie's gonna be bad, we'd rather it be bad because of the director's original vision, not because someone meddled with it. So
yeah, I'm excited for this one. Also out this weekend, Game Night. This is a mystery comedy hybrid with Jesse Plemons, Rachel McAdams, Jason Bateman. Comes from the co-writers of Spider-Man Homecoming, who are directing this one. They also previously directed the Vacation reboot. Art, have you seen this one yet? Or
yeah, no? There's like a huge AMC event, so I think like a couple people have seen it. It's dumb fun. It's a little too dumb than I want it to be, but it's just like, okay, you enjoy it. The more you think about it, the dumber it is.
Right.
The ending is funny, but it's really, really dumb, and it really doesn't make any sense the more you think about it. But it's dumb fun. The Frito-Lay joke, which happens earlier in the movie, is probably the standout. And they know it because they bring it up later at the end in a little Easter egg, which I thought was really cool, so look out for that. Frito-Lay joke and Jesse Plemons. Best in the movie.
I feel like the vibe of this trailer is a little bit Horrible Bosses. Is it better or worse than that?
Ooh, it's a little bit like Horrible Bosses. But
Better,
even Horrible Bosses makes more... It's more logical. If I put it like, Horrible Bosses is a little absurd. This is just like you go to the doctor's office and the doctor wants to sleep with your brother. Kind of like, that's the world we're in. You know what I mean?
Okay. Very broad.
We're in a comedy world here, yeah.
Cool. New to streaming on Netflix, February 21st, Lincoln, the Steven Spielberg movie that won Daniel Day-Lewis one of them Oscars he's got. It's on February 21st. February 23rd, same day that we're getting Annihilation, we're also getting another really interesting sci-fi movie. This one is Mute. It's Duncan Jones's long-awaited sci-fi follow-up to Moon, starring Alexander Skarsgård.
Wait, follow-up?
Yeah, so it's set in the same world, but it's not. I'm not sure if Sam Rockwell plays a character, but his character is in the world of Mute.
It's a Cloverfield movie.
These damn tight ads are everywhere.
Wait, so is this coming out VOD?
This is Netflix. This is going to be Netflix February 23rd, bro. And this is a project that Duncan Jones has been kicking around for a while. He wanted to do this one following Moon, ended up doing Source Code, ended up on that World of Warcraft movie. The budget has been kind of like getting bigger and bigger, so I'm really curious. There's some really sick concept art out for this movie. So it's kind of been the one that he's been hoping to do for a while, and usually those ones turn into interesting projects.
Our last Netflix sci-fi wasn't good. I hope this one is.
Also out on February 23rd, it's 7 Seconds, a mini-series starring Regina King about racial tensions exploding in a northeast town when a white cop hits a black teenager. It sounds like something that will get a lot of people talking in think pieces and stuff. It looks kind of interesting, though, so I might check out that miniseries, also available on February 23rd. And one more thing from Netflix, February 23rd, Ugly Delicious. It's a docuseries starring the world-renowned chef David Chang. And it's from the Oscar-winning director of 20 Feet to Stardom. I think their concept is similar to like an Anthony Bourdain show, going around the world eating foods. But David Chang is a pretty enjoyable show host. So if you're into great foods and foodie kind of stuff, I'd recommend checking that show out on February 23rd.
It's interesting.
Hulu, February 23rd, Catherine Bigelow's Detroit. I think, what's his name? Will Poulter had one of your favorite performances from last year.
Will Poulter, right? Yeah, favorite performance, which I hate, yes.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, an effective performance.
An effective performance, exactly. There you go.
On HBO Go, nothing big coming, but leaving on February 27th, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. So if you want some more Martha in your life, you got to get that in quick. On Amazon, February 23rd, The Tick, Season 1B. So if you like the first half of The Tick, or if you were waiting for the whole thing to be out to binge it, it is available for you now.
Okay. New
to VOD on February 20th, Daddy's Home 2.
Trash.
Art's thrilled.
Trash.
And then Thor Ragnarok. I actually really want to catch up with I'm not catch up with, so I saw it. I want to watch it again. This is one movie that I think is going to be a lot of fun to kind of have on while I sit in the living room and eat snacks. So
I want to watch it again because I feel like I need to make a follow-up video to it because a lot of people have been disrespecting Thor, saying that nothing happens in that movie. Y'all wrong. What movie were we watching? Some people, I guess, laughed too hard that they forgot stuff happened. My man is literally like 50 pounds lighter by the end of the movie. Things happen.
Art, do you have a pick for the week?
My pick for the week, I am going to have it be Black Panther. I was thinking of a Netflix thing, but I'm going to have it be Black Panther. If you don't got the money to go watch Black Panther, I don't got a Netflix pick for you, but I do have an album for you guys to listen to. It's the same album we saw last week. Listen to it because what they've been doing is putting out a music video for all of them, so YouTube is also free to stream. Skip the ads if you want to, but they're putting out music videos. Did you see King's Dead's music video?
Yeah, man.
Ooh, the roof scene is dope.
Shots.
The palm trees and the roof one I thought was dope. Zooming in on each one of them in a different roof.
Oh, yeah, the roof one was dope.
Doing the views thing.
Yeah, I can't tell how real that was because they're so crisp there, you know? It's definitely
right?
Some computery stuff going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was pretty dope. So yeah, all Black Panther. It's Black Panther week, keeping it Black Panther.
Yeah, can't go wrong with Black Panther, but if you're one of the many, many, many people in America that's already seen Black Panther, go check out Annihilation, man. I don't think you'll be let down. Buzz on Annihilation is really, really good if you're into smart sci-fi, if you're into good acting. I mean, you got Natalie Portman and great people around her. Mm-hmm. I think Alex Garland is one of our up-and-coming really interesting filmmakers.
Yeah.
So if you want that kind of movie, maybe check out Ex Machina on VOD and then check out Annihilation when that one hits theaters. Mm-hmm. All right, so that's all for this week's show. But hey, episode 20 of Intercut is just a week away, and we want to answer your questions. So please leave a comment on YouTube, send us a tweet, comment on our Facebook, do what you need to get in touch with us, and send us your movie, TV, or entertainment questions. We'll do our best to answer all of them on next week's show. Until then, you can catch more from me, Zac Efron, by following me on Twitter @ZFevich or Instagram as well @ZFevich. And check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/multiplexshow. Art, where can people find more from you?
You can find me at The A to Z Show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. I got some videos up there, which you can watch as well.
I do it occasionally.
Yeah, I watch some of them too.
There's a few things on Black Panther up on your channel right now, right?
Yeah, there's a couple things in Black Panther. I have a collab video as well, which you can check out about the album that I did with a guy named Thought. You can go check out his stuff over there. Got my own Black Panther video, but of course, we always talk weekly right here on the Intercut, so you can just stick around right here. You can listen to us on different places. You can watch us on this place right here. Where else?
Absolutely. You can listen to every episode of SoundCloud of the podcast. I need to take that all back because my mouth got jarbled. You can listen to every episode of the Intercut podcast on iTunes or SoundCloud. Your favorite podcatcher will have it too. It's the RSS feed. That's a beautiful thing. I listen to it in Overcast. So make sure to subscribe to whatever on... Oh,
whatever you... Fuck. What happened? Just keep that in.
Camera. All right. So make sure to subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you use, as well as our YouTube channel. Hopefully you're watching our bright, beautiful faces now. It adds a little bit to see us talking here, interacting. So make sure to check us out. YouTube.com/IntercutPod. IntercutPod is the handle to find us all over the internet on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram pages. It's all IntercutPod @IntercutPod. So check those out for updates throughout the week from Art and from myself. But again, thanks for tuning in. And remember, until next time, Wakanda forever. Everybody's doing it. We got to do it too, I think.
No, but don't forget your questions for next week.